Let's see if this will record. I'm not sure if it will. I think it's recording. Yeah. Okay. Well, how's everybody doing? Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Yeah. We got some rain today. That's a new thing. I don't know if you guys got outside and smelled it, but that was pretty awesome, I thought. We need the rain. It's been dusty, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you getting out on trails and whatnot, such as myself, I've been on a lot of trails, and I was like, geez, we need our spring rains. It's perfect, though. It's good. So this is going to be, our typical Zoom sessions. They're going to be really fast. Well, they're going to proceed at a quick pace because we have lots to cover. And I do appreciate and understand that attention span, for staring at your computer and having somebody talk to you isn't, doesn't last forever. So I intend for these Zoom sessions to last maybe about an hour, a little bit more than an hour. So, yeah, we're just going to go over a lot of stuff fast, and it's going to be me talking and hopefully you guys interrupting me with good questions and giving your input and all that. So nonetheless, we might as well just get it started here. Journals. I got most everybody's journal. There's a couple of you, I won't out anybody, but there's a couple journals that weren't submitted. So those of you that didn't submit that, do submit that. I think I got everybody except for 2. And just so you know, it's a little bit repetitive. You have the assignment on Canvas. You have to submit your assignment on the assignment description in addition to the pictures of your journal that you upload. So, it's like doing 2 things that kind of feel the same, but just know you have to do both of those. So I can give you credit for both. So be sure to do both parts of that. Let's start right off here. Who likes their Molotov pins? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you like them. Yeah, double thumbs up. Sweet. Yeah. Let's see, Danielle, you had different ones, right?
Yeah.
What were yours called again?
Tosca.
Posca. Yeah. And how much per pen were those anyway?
I think my set of 16 was about $50.
Okay. That's a lot of pens though. That's a lot of colors. That can work really well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different.
I figured you'd want more once you had them, so I might as well get like the middle range of colors.
Yeah.
But they have a huge sets.
First one's free, and then you just get addicted, and then you're just stuck on these the rest of your life. These are great though. I'm sure everybody's like, oh, I wish I had that other color. But nonetheless, all the colors that I picked are good colors, so I hope they'll work for you. Anybody have any accidents with them? Get it on somewhere it shouldn't have gotten?
It is all over. Well, not all over. There's like splotches of it on my desk. And then I got it like all over like my arms and fingers.
Oh, yeah.
So it was fun.
And you got it off, looks like?
That was like a few days ago, so I'd hope so.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember that grid square that I showed you with the, when I was doing kind of a little tutorial on the grid. I outlined that square in red, and then I painted over it with latex paint. And it kind of revived even though it looked dry on the board, the wet paint over it kind of started to mix together. And then, I had a red pen. And so the paint kind of started to smear in there. It was kind of like it was pushing lipstick around or something. And I think with enough coats, it'll go away. But just know that you don't really want to use something like this for like an undercoat. You don't want to paint over it if you don't have to, for sure. So it's just one of those things that, in general, when you're working on murals and also large pieces of artwork, it makes a lot of sense to have, you have to start with acrylic first and then maybe some oil like spray paint over the top of that. It's kind of the best way to work because acrylic paint, like house paint, acrylic or latex is another term for house paint, like the samples that you guys have, that latex paint, that's paint that has really good adhesion qualities, especially like a primer underneath that. Like I primed your guys' boards white, and then the latex paint over the top of that, it's gonna just adhere really well. And this adheres well also, but going over it with a latex paint, like I said, there might be some smearing issues. So it's all about experimentation. We all figure stuff out as we go. But just in general, it's a good idea to just start with a latex, just like a, try to pick a color. You can even tint your own primer. If you had a big wall to do, you could just paint kind of like the general tone for the whole wall, and then go ahead and start painting other latex on top of that after. So then spray paint, and that's just kind of a way that a lot of people work. Some artists only work in spray paint, some only work with rollers and brushes and whatnot. So many different ways to do it. I wanted to start off here by showing everybody's trains. And so I'm just going to talk about these right quick. I am going to share a screen here. Let's see. Screen 3. Share it. Okay. Holler if something's not working. My whole screen has to reboot here, sort of. You guys still there?
Yep.
Okay, good. Let's see here. Still coming up. Okay, there you guys are. Okay. Let's see here. Oops, let's go over here. Okay, so some of these have a name attached to them, some of them don't, but I just wanted to show you kind of everybody's little trains and subways and buses and whatnot. So just so you could have, and there's multiple views of some of these, so some of them turned out super cool. As I had mentioned, each of you, you wanted to do find your own media as well. Some of you are a little confused, but yes, you did. Everybody has like little fine point pens or different colored ink markers, or anything and everything was open for this to use in addition to your Molotov markers. So, let's see, that's Alexa's there. She did a cool photo shoot as well. And let's see, I think that this is Brooks, right? Yeah, very cool. You have lots of markers, it looks like. You were able to rummage through and find some good stuff. And you had the bigger car. I know that some of you had the small train car, and it's kind of short and small. And I'm sure this one, there was a terrible accident with this wheel here. I don't know if you saw that right there, but yeah, I hope nobody got any legs cut off. Let's see here. That's where somebody died, perhaps. Is this going in a, okay. There we go. Okay, next one here. So this is Miles. He did a cool mock-up here. Miles is here, right? I think I saw Miles somewhere. Yes, in a car somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's really awesome that you did a mock-up. You just found an image of a car online and then kind of practiced digitally over the top of it. And yeah, there's some really cool stuff there. And also a little bit of a grainy photo, but from the side. Super cool. And we're going back to Alexa's here. Huh. I think it's dropped twice the images in, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We might be looking at some of the images twice. Let's see, this is Danielle's, right? I couldn't tell if this one was photoshopped onto there because it looks like it's hovering.
I put it on a stick and then I photoshopped out the stick.
Okay. You tripped me out a little bit there. I was like, how did she do that? Yeah, cool. Okay. That makes sense now. You keep me on my toes. I like it. This one too. Yeah. So can I ask if it was the stick here?
Yeah, I didn't even do it in Photoshop. I did it on my phone, like on a, I think I used Facetune. I mean, I don't know why I didn't use Photoshop. I was just on my phone doing all of it.
No, it turns out great. And then really on the tracks here, it's so cool. I really love how many different designs you got on the sides there. Really, really powerful train you got going on there. Very cool. And yeah, I like the scale of it too. Really neat. And just the fact that you photographed it on the tracks, so cool. That's a great idea. And here it is in your home, not on the tracks.
That was Mia's.
Mia? Okay, cool. The Death Wagon.
Both.
Power line, cool. Yeah, it looks like something that somebody would do, graffiti, like that style with just a little bit of detail of a shadow kind of on the side. Let's see, Raimundo, right? And what kind of marker, is that the kind of marker you use back there? Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Are those highlighters or are they just pen markers?
I think they were highlighters, but didn't really work. I'll tell you, it was pretty decent.
Yeah, the surface was a little bit sheeny. I felt like, you know, like some stuff took to it, some stuff didn't. Cool. Oh, and then we're going back here. Let's see. This is Cindy's. She had a full-on kind of utensils of art type thing going on here. Super cool. Kind of little pop art pal thing on the top, and then she re-outlined some of the doors and windows and stuff so you could see where they were. Really cool. Here's kind of both views of the sides there. And then let's see. This is Sage, right? Yes. And also you can see, yeah, you can see where it kind of colored over on the side. Stuff. I'm just going to zoom through these. This is Brandy, right?
Yep.
Very cool. I like the perspective rays of sun or something there and the lips, and that looked like you had a lot of fun with it. How long did that take?
Like half an hour.
Oh yeah?
I don't really know.
That's pretty fast. So you were kind of just doodling it and just, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I would not get on that bus if it pulled up. But I like the hands here too. That turned out really good. And let's see. This is Tia's. Yeah, Tia did some really cool prelim sketching, which I think there's some prelim sketches here too. It kind of wraps all the way around here. Yeah, some of the prelim sketches. It kind of looks like a frog throwing up, or I wasn't quite sure what exactly it was, but does that look like a frog to anybody else?
Yeah.
With a big tongue, maybe?
Looks like a hippo.
A hippo. Oh, okay. Okay, there's a clearer view of it. Big.
It's a hippo eating a pickle.
Oh yeah, okay. And the pickle has bunny ears. Maybe?
Yeah, obviously.
Clearly. Some of those ideas, it looks like low-grade paper. So the idea must have come like right then. It's like, okay, what's the nearest piece of paper around? Some toilet paper or thin tissue paper. But that's why it's always good to have your books with you, your sketchbooks. Let's see, this is River, I believe, and using some of her Molotov markers. Yeah, I think I just have the one from River. And a little bit of a grainy from Morgan here. Yeah, I like the face on the back. That was really cool when I mentioned that in the journal there, Morgan. Super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my phone's not the best.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool to see you working while you're here. And this was Amanda's. Really cool. It's a snake wrapping around the whole vehicle here and like kind of in 3D. Really cool idea. I could see somebody doing that on a car. And then I think we're back to the start. Let me just see. Yes. Okay. Is there anybody's that I didn't show that's there? Speak up, or I'm going to X out of this. There. Cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the project. Was it, I don't know, was it a little bit too small to really get into it, or could you?
A little. I also didn't really know what to do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wish they were a little bit bigger, but you can still get into it. I think it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a neat size, I feel like. I really like the, it's just fun that they make it. I went into Art Primo where I ordered a lot of our supplies from, and they have like actual, like it's a thing that people actually take those little model trains, like, you know, actual train cars, like HO gauge or different gauge trains, and they do graffiti on those, but, you know, really really detailed, airbrush a little bit of rust on it, make it look like a worn old car. It really looks just like, it's exactly like reality if you photograph it the right way with some tracks in front of it and whatnot. So cool. Okay, I am going to shuffle around here. Nice job on that project. I hope that, again, there's going to be, fun projects and then, and then kind of projects with a little bit more meat on them. So hopefully each week there's going to be kind of both. Let's see here. Apparently I had pulled up. I had put a new video here on the front page. I'm just, as it's coming to me right here, really cool video with 3D murals on it. It's just like kind of a gloss over all these different types of 3D murals around the world. And I can't remember how long it is. It might be like a 7-minute video or something, but it's a really sweet video. It's worth watching for sure. So let's go to our Molotov vignette. So with this, did anybody read this? I had kind of sent it out that, we were going to have the new assignments were up on the assignments. So it's a mini project, and this is going to be everyone doing something, maybe not 100% legal per se. You're just finding someplace out there. We're not trying to tag anything. I mean, I guess the point of this is that you don't want anybody to ever be mad if they see it, right? Like you wouldn't just take your Molotov marker on some public space where somebody's going to see it and be like, what? And have to like paint over it. But there's so many like old abandoned places and pipes and rocks and logs and there's just so many things, even in your own house and the foundation of your own house, or, the underside of a car or whatever, there's so many places you could think of where you could just do like a little vignette. So with this, you're going to be using your Molotov marker. Of course, those of you that have a different color or other Molotov markers, or if you wanted to trade with somebody at your own risk, feel free to do that. And so it's going to be either that color, or you can also add another color. So a 2-color maximum for this one. And it's just going to be you just creating, I have a couple images here of just totally randomness. There's a lot of really cool street art just devoted to little micro scenes. It doesn't have to be a little scene though. I mean, this could be pattern. You could do some sort of a kind of a geometric pattern type thing like we're doing for the other project. You could do something representational like this rhino here. You can tell it's a rhino, but it doesn't have to look like anything. Obviously, you're going to be sitting somewhere for at least an hour or maybe 2 hours be the amount of time that would be a good amount of time to budget for this project. But also there's scoping it out. You got to go find the place. So maybe it'd be fun to just wander around alleys or wander around, buildings where nobody's going to come across you around, where you live, or go downtown or go next to the waterfront or whatever you want to do. It's really up to you. You do need to photograph it, of course, because you're going to submit the photo. We want to see the photo. Submit the photo on Canvas. But I have some just a few ideas here of things to think about. I know that some people really want really clear answers, and so for that reason, I put 2-color maximum, and I can't remember where I put it, but just that it's 1 foot by 1 foot, like 12 inches by 12 inch square, roughly. Of course, you can go bigger than that, but that's just kind of a general guideline for how large something like this would be. So, is there any questions about that right now, so far? So you guys have a week to do this one. And again, this is just one of those fun mini projects. It's just worth, actually this is worth 100 points because I decided to add an extra 50 points because you do have to go out and scope a cool place. And certainly it's going to be higher grades for if you really put thought into this and you come up with a kind of a neat thing. And ultimately your design, whatever you do, kind of, it's influenced by what you're marking or painting on, if it interacts with it in a way, you could do kind of like a visual gag. There's so many different takes you could do on this. Definitely look at lots of other mini street art out there and you can get ideas. But otherwise, just have fun doing this, scope it out, you know, kind of have a little bit of a plan, scope out a place, come home, do some preliminary sketches, practice with your marker, practice with an undercolor of paint if you can, and then go out the next day and do it. You guys have a week from today to do it, and I want you to have this done before our Zoom session next Wednesday. So plenty of time to do this one. You're gonna be working on the other project also, but it should be pretty easy to do at some point, you know, between now and 6.5 days from now. So any questions about that at all? Okay, good. Let me look at my notes here. Yeah, okay, makes sense. You know, don't do anything illegal per se. You know, don't do marker on like something brand new that the city just put in or something like that. Just it'll be. I guess a theme would be don't make anybody mad that ever sees it, and it'll be, you know, do it in a place that somebody at some point in the future is gonna see. And they're just going to be like, oh, wow, what's this? And they're going to discover it, you know, like find a place where somebody will eventually find it. Not this week, but maybe in the future. And you can even give us all directions to it if you want, but definitely photograph it in place. Okay, moving on back to the fountain phrase. Let's see, let me get out of this. Let's see, how did the fountain phrase? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I wanted to go back here. Sorry, I'm making things all hard here. Or no. Sorry, let's see. I'm just going to, I meant to show something. Let's see. I meant to show Miles's time lapse. Did you guys see this at all in the journal? How cool is that? 23 seconds. Let's see if it'll come up here. Here we go. So Miles, did you use video velocity for this? Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah. Was it pretty easy to download and pretty easy to figure out?
Yeah, I think I downloaded it while we were in our last Zoom meeting.
Right on. Right on. So can you see yourself using this for other projects too?
For sure. Yeah, I have like a kind of a tablet style computer with a back camera on it.
Uh-huh.
So I just kind of leaned it over and went to town.
Yeah. And of course, as you know, you can just do screenshots. To any of you that work digitally, you can just, you know, select a screen and it just will continually shoot from that screen. And so, you know, if you're going to, any type of art, and obviously webcam and whatnot, works out really well. So awesome. I'm glad somebody used that. Thanks for sending that. That's really awesome. It's such a fun thing to see yourself work. That seemed like it was a perfect pace. So whatever the setting was, it seems great. I've definitely done videos before that I did the settings and I wanted lots of images and it just, the video just took forever. It was just really long. And so you want to make sure that it goes fast enough, but not too fast, and slow enough and not too slow, something like that. So, okay. So for our fountain phrase project, let's see, I have a few here. I don't know if they're all submitted yet. I had pulled these off of the Canvas site a little bit earlier today, so I don't know if everybody's is up there. And so, okay. So here we have Allison, and this is what she based it off of. And then here was the ultimate. She had 3 colors here. We have the gray background and kind of the drop shadow. Is Allison there? She on the call? Let's see here. Perhaps not. I can't see you guys. When you guys are looking at my screen, I can't really see everybody, so it's a little bit difficult. Okay, now, and this This is Mia, right? Cool. Like the background there. That's really neat. And the font turned out just like, yeah, because I had seen, let's see, yeah, here was the original for what that was going to look like. And yeah, she did like a, I didn't know those were going to be trees. I'm not sure what they are. They're just cool forms that are underneath it. They're redwoods, obviously, but yeah.
They were my sketch for the trees.
They're your what?
They were my sketch for the trees, just kind of how it would look.
Cool. Yeah. It looks like the font turned out really well, and you spaced it perfectly on the board. The word just fits in there really well. You know, it's got enough space on the sides. And are you happy with how it came out?
I am. I worked on it a lot, and I accidentally wasted too much paint.
Nobody's ever done that before. You're the first.
Done what before?
Nobody's ever wasted too much paint before. You're the first one ever, I think. Just kidding. No, yeah. It's funny how far a little thing of paint can go, but also, you know, how quick it can get sucked right up by the board too. So.
Well, when I say I wasted paint, it was originally red and green.
Oh.
It didn't look as good as I was hoping.
Yeah.
So I got rid of the green entirely.
So the green was in between?
The green was the background, yeah.
Oh, okay. And then you just painted over it with this kind of beige color?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, that looks great. I probably would prefer that to the green, depending on what color green it is. Yeah.
Oh, it was not good.
Awesome.
Not good.
Did you use a roller?
No, I used a brush.
Okay, for everything?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Nice work. Is this have a future on a wall somewhere?
Perhaps it commemorates the time I went to the redwoods in California.
Oh, cool.
So it has meaning to me. So I think I might hang it on my wall at some point.
Yeah. Did you hug one?
Yes.
Yeah. I've done that too.
Very large.
Yeah. You can't hope to, but you can kind of grab the bark because it's so thick and,
Yeah.
you know, give it a little something.
Yeah, it's a thought.
Cool. Nice work.
Thank you.
Did anyone use a roller for this project?
Yes.
I just used a regular paintbrush.
I used a
Yeah, I
roller.
used my roller.
Yeah, I use a roller.
Good. Do we have fans of the rollers?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love brushes, but I love the rollers as well. So, let's see here. Looks like this is.
Oh, that's me.
Seeds.
Yep.
And this is like this is your grids there. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I used mostly roller and did the background first, which was fascinating to use a roller because of the texture. So I had a lot of fun with that. So I've never painted with a roller before, except for an actual wall.
Just one
So,
color,
yeah.
right? So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it was fun to layer it, and I spent way too much time talking about wasting paint. There's no such thing as wasted paint, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it was fun to do the layer after layer after layer with the roller, and then most of it was done with my thumb, if not to get into small spaces, you know.
Oh yeah. So did you use a level to get all these pieces of string here that are holding the letters up?
T-square.
I used a T-square. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I happen to have a very large T-square. So.
And was that with a paintbrush or a marker, or what's the line coming from?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So those are markers. So it's a white oil marker and then a black Sharpie.
Cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
my hand's not steady enough to use a brush.
Yeah, especially if it's a rough background, you know. That's,
yeah. You know, I thought about it having kind of like wavy lines, but then I kind of liked that they were static. And plus, this is the way it looked when I downloaded the font. So
yeah, cool, really neat. That's beautiful. I love the back. There's so many colors there.
Yeah.
Did you buy all these
there's
colors, or this colors that you just had, or?
Well, my daughter just repainted her room and used the blue, and that's actually kind of it's a green. And then I got inspiration from online. Someone had red in the top, but that's actually orange. So orange, and then just kind of layering the paintbrush and pick up a little red and drop it there, and pick up the green and drop it there. And so
Yeah.
it felt a little street arty, you know?
Yeah, felt really improvisational. Like you're just in the moment, you're just playing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I haven't brushed up on my Latin. I think this looks like Latin, but can you translate it for us?
Right, so that's Latin, and it means, well, there's controversy over what it means, but most people translate it to mean art is long, and life, lita is life, is brief.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I feel like I could tell. Yeah, I could tell Vita Brevis.
Mhm.
Read that, but I guess longo too.
Yeah,
Ars,
yeah,
Ars means art. That's cool.
yeah, you got it. You got it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool. That turned out really well. Really cool. I like the little
that
knot
was
you have on the string too.
super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So you maximize the whole thing. So does your daughter want this in her room now?
No. She's done with the room, but I think this will go to my art room.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or to the Latin teacher. I don't know.
Which there was at the college for a little while. Oh, okay. And then here's your
Right.
Here's your workspace.
Right. I forgot to do. Somebody there did a great time lapse. Nice job with that. And so at the end, I thought, oh, I'll just throw everything out that I was using and take a picture for you. But I would like to play with the time lapse.
You did a time lapse, I thought.
Of the grid, yeah. Of when I was gridding the board.
Okay.
You're right.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll show that just after this. Cool. And we've got kind of a what would I call this? What is this text? Kind of a calligraphic. I can't pronounce it. Calligraphic, Gothic sort of text.
Yeah, it's Gothic.
Gothic. Cool. And you got the translation there below it. So this is Brandy's. Yeah, nice spacing there. It's perfect. How you just have a little bit of space on the sides. Is that going to end up on your wall too?
If I have space for it. Right now, I don't.
Yeah. Well, seize the
That's
day.
beautiful.
Make it your day. Just to put that up. I can see wall back there. I could see you taking down that piece of art behind you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this down. I'm sure my parents won't mind.
Cool. And how did the process go? Did you do the black second or first?
I know you said to do the background first, but I was thinking, oh, it's black, so I'm not gonna see the lines. But I regret it because it took hours. It took so long, but it ended up turning nice. So
yeah, it's really clean. It's really impressive.
Thank
So
you.
What would you have done differently then?
Do the background first, and then paint over it. Then do the graph and everything.
And it might have taken a couple coats because it is black, but I think that probably is the more efficient way to do it.
Yeah, the paint is actually a shiny gold, but you can't really tell with the lighting.
Oh, yeah. So from a certain angle, like it really has a sheen to it, and you can see little glitter flecks in it and stuff.
I couldn't get a good angle though, because then the whole thing looked bleached out. So this is the best picture I got.
Cool. All right. I want to see that in person then. I want to see the gold paint. Sweet. Nice job. And this is a really cool font too. What's that one called? Do you remember?
I don't remember that one, but the Carpe Diem, that's Old London.
Old London. Yeah. Cool. Looks like that's one of those fonts you see a lot of people getting like tattooed. Across their back, across their shoulders, you know? Not in their lower back. Cool. Nice work. That turned out really well. Oh, and then here's the grid itself. And the appropriate number of boxes, it looks like. You felt good with the number of boxes you had there? Good. Awesome. Cool. Okay, that's what I have so far. Does anybody have theirs that I can show that? Wait, let me show Cindy's here. Everybody's got a, no, that's straight on. Yep. Cool. So you see you have multiple T-squares. You got an aluminum one, you got this one.
Well, right. So because the board's longer than the T-square, so you're gonna see here in a second how I have to bridge. And you know that I teach, and I teach gridding to like 7th and 8th graders, and this part that's coming up here is always most difficult. Like they don't need a yardstick. You can actually
Yeah.
put two rulers together.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Cool. Well, that definitely informs the way you go about it. The fact that you've taught it before. That's really cool. Okay. Let's see. Going through here. So ultimately, then everybody has some experience here, coming up with a grid, coming up with a phrase. It really doesn't matter, you know. And then enlarging it onto the board. Do you guys feel like it's hopefully you feel confident that you could just put this on a building if you wanted to? Because what you guys did was you just took a little version of the text and then you expand it by a couple of orders of magnitude, maybe twice or three times as big on your board that it was on the paper. But it really isn't anything extra. I mean, it's obviously extra work, walking up there, moving ladders, doing lots of things. But if you just expand your square size, your grid size on a wall, everything you guys did, you could have just made 30 feet wide instead of 4 feet wide. It's just a skill that is so applicable in so many ways. And like I said, you're you can use this for so many types of muraling, and also just for your own sketches. It's anything in your sketchbook, not just text, but you can just throw a grid on top of it and reproduce it at whatever size you want. There's other ways to do it than the grid, and I was going to show that today, but I didn't want to. There's just so much we have to cover today, so I didn't do that. So nonetheless, okay, cool. Well, I have Okay, next thing on my notes is, did anybody watch the video that I did send out, the Vitality and Verve? Anybody? That was a link. It was about a 26-minute video.
Oh yeah, I watched it.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Was that amazing?
It was really impressive. Yeah, it was really impressive. It's crazy.
So one of the take-home points from that video, which actually, just pull it. I'm just curious if you guys could even see. Let's see, my computer's being slow right now. If you guys can even see this with any resolution if I were to pull up a video here. We're not going to watch the whole video, don't worry. But these artists, they're not mural artists, but they just scaled up their work. Let's see. So this guy here, Greg Crayola Simpkins, he is such a badass artist, but I really don't see him working larger than 4 feet ever. He works large, but not this large. Can you guys see this video okay? Okay.
It's frames.
It's what?
It's almost like still frames for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, this is the video. This was completely next level here. This woman's body that's, made with aerosol. Just crazy. It's masked off. I really love that one. I wasn't familiar with the artist before I watched this video. And then probably one of my favorite artists of all time here is a guy named Aaron Horkey. And sorry if these are just stills for you guys, but again, you can see he's using the grid there. He works with pen and ink, like hyper detailed pen and ink, and he does really small little pen and ink work that he does a lot of really badass stuff, but all small sizes. But now he's taken his own tiny little pen and ink work, and he's made this. Oh geez, sorry. Sorry. And made it giant. It covers 2 walls. It encompasses a corner, and it's just cool because I've only seen him do pen and ink work, and now he's doing painting, and it's a mural, and it's inside this art gallery, and it's so badass what he creates there. He always does these weird figures with kind of crazy helmets on and stuff, but he's definitely one of my favorite artists. I've shown him before and some of his work. He's really reclusive, but nonetheless, any of you that are curious, this is my favorite mural video I've ever seen. Just the fact that it's long and it really covers a lot of it, and it shows what it's like when everybody goes to the art museum later on. But that was in the email that I sent out you guys a little bit ago, so I would say definitely watch that. if you're into seeing something really inspiring. These are like really high level artists, but they're just fantastic. So so just a couple more things here to go over for our next projects here, which are the geometric desserts. Now, did that project make sense to anybody that's read the assignment description?
I thought we were making a geometric desert until I got like halfway through the description, so I understand it now.
So you thought you were making a little
I
dessert
thought
that
we
you
were
were going to
making
eat.
Yeah, I thought we were making like a dry landscape. The Sahara.
Well, oh, a desert landscape, yeah. With the one S. Don't spell with the one S, two S's.
Yeah, two S's.
Yeah, so anybody have any desserts they like that they've already chosen?
All desserts.
All desserts? I don't think you have time to paint them all.
Wait, so is it the dessert that's made out of geometric things, or is it the dessert and then it's surrounded by geometric? Because like what I thought it was the first time, I thought it was you like make a dessert out of geometric shapes, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
that is
It's also got to be edible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be painting with frosting. No, for this, it's open to interpretation. For me, the design that I'm kind of working on right now, it's going to have the dessert itself isn't going to be geometric, but you could. I want to have it geometric. I mean, a big dessert, and then kind of geometric shapes, you know, kind of surrounding it, you know, playing off of some of the colors and some of the shapes that are in the dessert itself. But if you wanted to make the dessert out of geometric, you know, more straight lines, you could do some masking, of course, with masking tape. You could even start doing some stencil stuff. You guys have a stencil board. You could do something with that too if you wanted to make that geometric. But yeah, it's really open as far as this point, as far as how you interpret it. Now, you know, I narrow it down saying, okay, geometric, which is pretty narrow, and dessert, just so people have something to go off of. If I just said, hey, do whatever you want for the next project, just make it 2 colors and make it something that you could eat, you know, that's, I don't know, that's just a little bit too broad. So hopefully it narrows it down enough. Hopefully everybody likes dessert. I really love dessert. And yeah, there's every reason to paint a really big image of dessert. So there's a lot of things about this. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen here. Let's see here. Screen 3, let's do that. So here's the assignment description. Can you guys see that okay? I really wish I could see your guys. Okay, I guess I can kind of see while I'm doing this. Everybody can see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so geometric dessert. So you can use this on the other side of your board. You can go vertical or horizontal for this, either way. You're gonna render a dessert and add some geometric flair to it. So, you know, geometric is a word that everybody, I'm sure, interprets in a different way, but when I think of things, I'm gonna show some examples of some geometric mural art that you could kind of, you know, feed off of. But nonetheless, I threw out some desserts here, you know, pastries, cupcakes, concha, slice of cake, croissant, bacon donut, tiramisu, like a cake, like a wedding cake. What else? What other desserts are out there that I'm not thinking of?
Pie.
Just pie, yes. Yeah, I actually had looked for blackberry pie as an example, my favorite. Or actually, rhubarb is probably my favorite pie. But blackberry's right up there. What else?
Ice cream.
Ice cream? Yep, ice cream cone.
Ice cream.
Ice cream with an ice cream cone. That'd be a great one. Yep. Uh-huh. What else? What did everybody have last night? Because you know everybody's just sitting indoors all day and just feeling sorry for themselves and just rubbing every night some kind of a dessert. I know.
Did you mention cookies or cupcakes?
Yeah, cupcake. That's a great one. I have to show you guys something. This, actually, no, I'm going to show you after because I don't want to keep going back and forth. Can you guys see my photo right now while you're seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, some of you can. Okay. All right. I'll show this in just a sec when I pull back onto myself. Okay, so have fun thinking about this. There's just so many options you can do for this. I wanted to do vertical format for this just to try something different, make it, it's kind of fun to crop things. And so that's, part of it where even if you have a wide wall, let's say, it's still really neat to have a really tall subject that you actually have to cut off, and it kind of makes it seem bigger. It's one of these compositional things where it's fun to play with a constrained size of a palette or of a canvas. And so I wouldn't say just automatically go to the horizontal size because we're used to it, and a lot of things we view, including your computer screen you're in right now, is more horizontal than vertical. But yeah, like I said, I want to go vertical just to try something new. So think about that. So I'm going to let you guys read this on your own. I'm going to kind of skim it and just think about a few things that are important here. Manipulating a photo is something we can do. We want it to be recognizable. It doesn't have to be in actual colors. In fact, in some ways, it'd be an interesting challenge to not make this the actual colors of the dessert, because then you'd have to go out and buy a bunch of paint, and we don't want to do that. So if you wanted to do it alternate colors, it's totally fine. So whatever you have at hand is great. If you just can't get by and you need a specific color, that's totally fine. I have chocolate in one of mine, and I might make the chocolate brown, but everything else different. So still thinking about that. So think about that. So geometric flair here, also I consider things like radial, like lines that kind of emanate from a point and radiate out. That's also, to me, geometric. So think about that. Circles, using compasses and things like that. Yeah, that's also, to me, geometric. So, any kind of simple shapes are geometric. It doesn't have to be just 90-degree angles or hexagons or anything like that. And try to make this point here I'm try to find some interplay between the dessert and the geometric design. It could be just a background, but maybe it can kind of creep and become part of the dessert too. It's going to be kind of neat to sketch some ideas out even before you go to the paint, just to think about, like, how can you create a geometric shape that dovetails into this dessert. Abstract colors are welcome. Use at least 2 colors. 3 would be ideal. 4 is fine, but I would say keep it to 4 at the max. And I kind of reiterated that as well in the other description I had of it. So you can use the same colors used for this last project. You can trade with people if you want for the perfect color. You can go buy some colors. Did anybody call in to a paint place and have them create colors for you? Alexa was going to maybe do that.
Marlon, I ordered some colors online, but they won't be delivered until like May 3rd. So I was wondering if anyone wants to trade colors. I have a big bucket of purple that if anyone just wants to trade it for the next project and then trade it back or whatever.
Okay, cool.
I have some colors that you can use too if you need like 1 or 2 until you
okay.
Choose up. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You guys got to get together. And the college wouldn't be very supportive of it, but it would be nice to have the opportunity to get together and everybody just showed up with little sealable containers, like old things that you're going to throw in your recycle bin anyway. So you could each of us could pour paint for each other, and everybody could have like a little cornucopia of paint. That's how it was last year when we did the mural class. Like everybody had tons of paint. Everybody just borrowed. We had every color because everybody had maybe 6 or 8 colors, and it was pretty cool. Everybody had gallons and stuff. So sometimes we ran out, but it was pretty rare. But nonetheless, I'm open to just whatever colors you have on hand. Go for it. I'm not going to be a stickler on it looking hyper realistic in terms of the color palette that you use. But I really like doing alternate colors. If you can convincingly paint this dessert, but it's completely not the color of the dessert, that's a big win for you. So it's a challenge, but it's possible to do that. Try to do it. So I also wanted to encourage everybody. I know that some of you might not have white paint or black paint around you, but if you do, mix a color. Just, you know, you have your, like maybe a main color for the dessert, mix a highlight color, which is just adding a little bit of white in a cup with the other paint and just a slightly lighter color, or add some black, a slightly darker color, or maybe a really dark brown would make it that darker color, or, you know, just play around with it. But you'll experience just mixing just, you know, a slightly different value, which is a lighter or a darker version of that main color. So that's a skill we can try to practice in this. You can just find containers as well. And, you know, there's extra paint samples, of course, around. I won't talk about that more. So using the grid again is totally fine. You don't have to use the grid this time, but if you're really trying to achieve like a dessert that people recognize that's not even the right color, they don't even know they're looking at a dessert necessarily. So, you know, maybe you want to use the grid. You don't want to use the grid like a crutch, but you're totally welcome to use the grid here. You're totally welcome to just go off on your own too. I would even challenge some of you, if you haven't done it before, to just sketch with your paint roller. You can sketch with a brush, of course, but you could even sketch with your paint roller. Just kind of roll some silhouettes out and, you know, even use kind of the side of it and kind of, you know, use the corner of the roller. And I sketch with the roller all the time. It's really easy to do, actually. You have to do a little bit more paint, but even the little pints or whatever will be plenty of paint for this whole board. So think about that. But the grid's totally good here. I'm going to show a couple ideas about that on Photoshop in a sec here. You want to have a good reference photo or a series of reference photos, of course, to work from. So it's a, you know, it's a recognizable dessert. That's part of the challenge here. Let's make a dessert that somebody could recognize and say, oh, that's that dessert that I really love, or, you know, they could at least tell that it's a specific type of food. So for some of the skills, we have simplifying details and colors, and we're going to go over that today. I'm going to show you quickly how to alter a photo in Photoshop so we can kind of pare it down and get it to just really simple elements of just a few colors. Color mixing, that's what I just talked about, where you can just take your main color, make a darker version of it for a shadow, or a lighter version for a highlight or whatever. So just, you know, take one color and mix it and create a new color. Cropping, again, that's what I talked about before, where we're going to, you know, in my case, vertical, the 2x4, I'm going to go vertical format. And so I'm actually going to have to crop the sides of it. So I want to, you know, kind of adjust things so that it's still recognizable, but still it'll look neat to have it kind of cropped out and make it appear bigger. Gridding and then departure from the grid. So use the grid. Anyone that wants to use the grid, I probably will use some form of the grid. And then depart from the grid. So you lay it out with the grid. And I know some of you did this with the text where you just kind of got the grid going. And then at a certain point you felt comfortable and you can start to kind of freeform on your own. So this is your invitation to really freeform. So get the dessert where you want it, make it look good. And then, especially when you're doing the geometric element to it, you can just start putting some tape on and just start doing stuff all over the place and really, you know, just improv it on the scene right then and there. So use the grid, but then also don't use the grid. You know, make it your own. You know, don't just copy a photograph, but you know, do both. And geometry as a side dish. So that's, you know, just, yeah, it could be the background. It could be creeping onto the foreground. Yeah, it's open to interpretation. Now, I don't know if you guys saw me add this. I added this a little bit after I posted the initial assignment description. These are a couple artists from the UK that have just incredible tutorials on, they have these books called How to Think When You Draw. Let's see here. And they have these, they're really hard to get the books themselves, actually. It's really frustrating because you have to join like this Kickstarter campaign and you never know when they're going to send the books and if they're going to send them, and it's kind of frustrating. But they have, so this is tutorial number 277. They have tutorials on everything, on how to draw fabric, on how to draw old trees, how to do futuristic cars, how to do eyes, how to do hands, everything. This is a tutorial that they've created just on desserts, and they're amazing tips. They're really incredible. So I included this in the assignment description there. How to do icing, you know, whipped cream, cakes, how to exaggerate them too. You guys are totally welcome to exaggerate your, you know, to depart from your reference photo and really exaggerate some stuff. And they just kind of show, you know, obviously this is really clear because somebody has already broken this down. This is the same process you guys are going through here. These artists have taken reference photos, or they're in front of an actual dessert, and then they've actually simplified it so much that it's just black and white. So you guys are going to go quite this far, but think about it. They just have a, well, in some cases, sorry, there's gray as well. So 2 colors, gray and black, and they can create recognizable desserts here that are beautiful, and they look appetizing, and they look exaggerated, and they, I don't know, they just look full of life and volume. So do look at this, because there's some really cool ideas for ways that you can add things to your own desserts, or maybe you'll like some of these desserts. I mean, don't just copy what they have there, but you know, you can just implement aspects of theirs. So, and then also they're the Etherington Brothers.blogspot.com. They have a search engine, and you can after this class, anytime in the future, you can just search for some subject or something you want to draw. And they do a comic book style of art, of course, but they'll have something about the thing you're trying to draw. It's just an incredible resource. So check that out. It's really sweet what they have. So this is the part of the assignment description. We've also included 3 things. This is just a really basic video about how to use the transform tool in Photoshop, which I'm going to go over today, but it's very basic. You guys, most of you, you know, I listened to I read your surveys that I had you take, and a lot of you have digital experience, and it's a super basic function, but you need to know how to resize stuff so you can play with it on your canvas and really, you know, figure out what you're going to do. So again, any video you want to find out about a skill in Photoshop or even muraling or anything, you know, YouTube has everything. You just have to kind of find the right terms to search from. So I just, you know, found one on using the transform tool. Here's a video about posterize tool. I'm going to go over, I'm going to show you guys how to use that today. And it's just one of many videos about this. Guy has a super old version of Photoshop, but still the tool reacts the same on newer versions of Photoshop. I have an older version of Photoshop too, actually, because I don't have to pay month by month. I just bought it before they did that, and I just own it, so it's pretty good. And then I have, I put a Photoshop file in here. I created a file for you guys to just drop something into. So those of you that aren't you know, really skilled with Photoshop, it's going to be nice to just have this file is already created for you. So you can just click this to download it right here, and it has an image in there. It also has a grid on it, if that's helpful to you. So I'll show you that in a sec here. So before we move on to Photoshop, I wanted to show you a couple more things here. So this, so I wanted to show you just a few geometric murals here that I just found online, and you know, there's no rhyme or reason to which comes first or last, but it's kind of interesting ways. You do see a lot of triangles because, of course, triangles are really easy to create. In a lot of cases here, you know, this line, this really sharp line, might be made with tape, and of course, those of you that can see me, you know, you got your blue painter's tape, and painter's tape gets old, and this. Unfortunately, this roll that I have is old and it's just really hard to get off. So you might want to just buy a new roll of tape if your tape that you have had in the garage for 7 years isn't working out for you. Yeah, it just rips all over the place. But yeah, feel free to tape and mask for this. Here is some cool hexagons that, you know, that was taped off clearly. And then somebody did probably like a roller sponge fabric sort of texture thing underneath it. And then imagine how fun it is once you just finally pull all that tape off. Tape can, or paint can always squeeze under tape. I was a house painter for many years, and I have my own tricks. If anybody wants to know any specific tricks about making like a perfectly chiseled line, happy to go over that. But I don't know if it's that crucial for this project. Neat color palette, you know, brown, kind of like a light teal, a dark teal, and paint, and 2 kinds of pink. Neat colors to go together. This would be a neat color palette for a dessert as well, you know, for, I don't know, some kind of a pie or something. So don't think that it all has to be, the colors have to really harmonize together, you know, because brown doesn't really go with pink, but looks neat. This is geometric too. It's kind of polygons that you see in a lot of 3D programs. You know, it's kind of imitating that. But yeah, it makes it look like this. It's got a bear's nose that's really sticking out of the building, and it kind of has a cast shadow here too. So it's cool. It's an optical illusion. It's neat. And rounded squares, you know, they have kind of a neat form, and they're kind of asymmetrical. You know, the red square and the gray square in different ways. That's also, I would consider, geometric, with also these vertical lines. Super neat for this one. This would be maybe having lots of colors on hand. The artist is not painting transparently. Rather, they are just, you know, where everything's crossover, that just becomes a new closed off cell that they add another color to that. But that's really neat. I really love that piece there. Again, there's textures in some of these, well, most of them, I guess. I think that this is actually digitally added onto there. I don't think somebody actually painted that. Sorry to ruin the magic for any of you. I would consider this geometric too, you know, just kind of pattern. Nobody painted that. That's clearly digitally added to this photograph, but it's still really neat. This here, oh, what's his name? It's Aaron. Oh, I can't come up with his last name. He's kind of famous. He does really big, badass murals that are kind of like doodle, and he does some script and characters as well. But look at this whole parking garage, just covered with these really neat kinds of lines and, you know, arcs and whatnot. It's really cool. I mean, even that, if it's big enough, it's a really neat pattern if you have enough of it there. Sorry, that's kind of small. Again, you know, triangles are something you see a lot in geometric. This has elements of geometric, and think, you know, you could do your dessert in this kind of a style as well. I don't know, somehow there's something about like a 60s storybook look to this. I don't know how I can put my finger on it, but yeah, you could just see how it's just geometric around it. Even the stairway is kind of geometric, and then there's another shape there. I mean, this is really simple, but totally works for this project. A neat corner as well, clearly geometric, kind of cubes. Kind of a, sorry, that's kind of small too. So that would be kind of what Alexa was talking about, where you could make, I mean, if you had the time, this would take forever to do, but if you wanted to create the dessert itself out of geometric things, you know, you could, like I said, cut a stencil out with that, that cardboard that I gave you guys, and that could be the basis for creating a dessert out of it. You know, you can even, you know, paint whatever you cut away from with your X-Acto blade. So the many more colors than we need to do here for sure, but really neat take on that. And lots of colors there too, but really cool wall. You could do this in your own space, and here's somebody doing, I think this actually might be a guy from Seattle. I feel like I've seen this mural in Seattle. And this is pretty neat too. It's just, I think it's just tape so far. And I think he will take it off or maybe leave it on. I don't know the backstory of this, but pretty neat looking texture there. And again, similar color palette. Okay, I'm back to square one. So there's that. Any questions about the geometric theme for that? Just to toss out some ideas for you guys to be thinking.
No, but those are awesome.
Cool. Great. Yeah, and if you just search on Google for your own, you know, geometric mural, geometric wall painting, geometric room, or, you know, mural wall, mural in my room, you know, whatever, you'll come up with a lot of stuff. So yeah, do your own research for sure for finding really cool stuff like that. Okay, so like I said, you want to have a limited color palette with this. And what I want to show you here is a mural that I did here when actually I'm still working on actually. Season got kind of closed down here. So this here, I did these birds that are recognizable to the species. Like, you know, if somebody saw this, I've had birder friends that looked at it and they knew what kind of bird it was. But there's only 3 colors here. There's a dark color, a mid color, and a light color. And it's really fun to paint like this. And your dessert, like I'm saying, can be like this. They don't have to be the same color family. They don't have to all be blues, of course. You could have, you know, just light colors and dark colors, you know, of any hue, whatnot. But this is what I'm going to show you how to do today. Take a photograph and kind of break it down into really its most basic color palette form, which would be, you know, 3 to 4 colors, let's say. There's another bird here. You can see it kind of close up, and another bird. This has been touched up since there, but all these just 3 colors and a background color making 4 colors. So again, 3 to 4 colors would be a max for this project. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing that right now. Okay. Before we go into, you guys see me now, right?
The 3 to 4 colors, is that with highlights and shadows too, or do you want actual 4 different colors and then shadows and highlights on all?
I think that the shadows and highlights would also be part of the 4 colors.
Yep.
So I'm not super stickler about it. I'm just trying to give people some focus so that, you know, I don't want anybody to paint anything hyper realistic. This project is more of like a graphic feel where we're trying to make things graphic. And I know it's a weird word that people use in all different ways, but we're not blending paint colors together, okay? We're just going to be, you know, really trying to create stark divisions between one light color and a dark color. You're not going to kind of blend it or airbrush it in one color to the next color, but each color is really separate. You can get a totally separate brush, dip with a totally separate source of paint, and make it like that. Does that make sense? Okay, this is funny because I picked I'm just going to show this to you before I go to Photoshop and show you the last few things before we're done. We're going to go over a little today. You know, I said I try to make it an hour, a little bit more. I bet you we'll be like 4:30 we'll be done, something like that, just so you have an idea. So anyway, I picked this assignment description just totally at random, which I often do. I think that everybody can be passionate about a dessert, and also, you know, add some geometric for that's forcing you to kind of create, you know, kind of your own take on something, is forcing you to do the geometric component to it. And then I was just up here in my office and I looked around, and a good friend of mine, she's a local painter, Lindsay Bridenthal. I bought a piece of hers recently, and it's this, and it really, it matches the theme for this. I mean, okay, it's not the simple color palette, but it is a dessert, and it has geometric, it's got these cool lines in the back. And that totally matches the theme, other than the fact that there's more colors and the colors are blended here. So it's a really cool painting though. It's just small, and I think I'm gonna put it up in the bathroom. It just makes you happy when you look at it. That's the point of it, for sure. There's a cool Christmas kind of art show thing. I don't know. Did you go to that, Cindy? Chris, down at Flooring America or whatever it is they had in December? Yeah. I don't know. So now, let's see here. I am going to.
I have a quick question about the dessert project.
Yes.
Could we do any like type on it?
Yes. Yeah. You can add whatever you want to it. As long as you have that minimum where you have, you know, a dessert and a geometric component. Anything else you want to add to it's totally good. And if you wanted to blend colors on the font, you know, that's above and beyond, so you can just do whatever you want. Yeah. It doesn't have to fall within the same parameters as that. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen now. Here it is. Okay. Try to do this. Okay, so it looks like a little turd, right? Now this is what I was going to originally go. Do you guys see this?
Yes.
Has anyone ever eaten one of these before?
What is that? Bacon?
Yeah, it's called a voodoo donut. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Oh yeah, I love voodoo donut.
I think it's from Portland originally. It was
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. So they actually sell these at Plaza Superjet. You can just go get one, and they're fresh. it's kind of funny. I've actually never eaten one of these. I'm not a huge donut person, but I'll have donuts like maybe like 4 to 5 times a year, but not this one anyway. But if you look at this, it's cool. And like, I think this is a perfect, you know, like really bright colors, you know, it could be really bright colors onto the board, you know, this in your face kind of even in a perspective or, you know, whatnot kind of maple bar with some bacon slabs on top of it and then some geometric stuff around it. Great subject. But then when I went to look at photos of voodoo donuts and or bacon maple bars, they kind of suck. Like if I were to try to paint this, yeah, there's just not enough color variation between this color here, this kind of reddish color, and then kind of like the brownish fat color of it. I think that I could spend hours and hours painting this, and ultimately somebody would look at it and be like, what's that? Like they wouldn't even know what it was. And so that leads me to think like, okay, actually, I probably need to find something better for a subject. So I did a couple other, sorry, let's go back here. So I did some searching. I just did some light image searching. You obviously don't want to spend forever searching for images, but there's this one here and there's this one here. Imagine, let's see, this is going to come up somewhere, I think. Where did you go? Okay, sorry. I'm going to keep shifting stuff over to your guys' window here. Imagine if I were to paint that again. Okay, I'll make it my own. I'm not going to paint exactly like this, but nobody's going to know what that is. Like, it's cool. I got bragged to everybody like, oh, I'm doing this cool, huge painting. And it's a maple bar. And it's got bacon on top. And it's like, you know, it's going to have this cool rays of sun coming out of it. People be like, oh, that's awesome. And then I'd show this to somebody and be like, I have no idea what that is. It does not, I mean, even though it's a photograph of it, you can see the photograph, painting that is not going to happen. So think about your subject matter. I decided, well, and look at this. Who knows what that is? You know, it doesn't even look like anything. It's just like a little lump with something on it. If you were to, especially convert the colors to a simpler color palette. I also looked for blackberry pie, like I said, and actually, let's go search for that real quick here. Sorry, let me just pull this over. Because I grow a lot of blackberries and try to find many uses for them. Okay, blackberry pie and ice cream. Images, and of course, you guys know you can do image searches and whatnot. Now this here, that's pretty good. I mean, you got a fork in there. Somebody knows, okay, this is a food. There's a fork. The fork could be at a better angle than that though. You got a difference between the crust and the actual blackberry. Okay. Most importantly, you have, you know, kind of these cracks that go across the ice cream, and you got the melted drips of the ice cream to show that, okay, this isn't stable at room temperature. It's starting to melt. Eat it quick. So this image here, I think that actually could work. This image here, again, you know, thinking in terms of just like values, like lights and darks, if you were to convert this to a black and white image, it's really not clear what that is. Like, it's just not a good reference image to draw from, because you have a blob of ice cream, you have a spoon, but it's just not a good reference photo. This, on the other hand, it's pretty good. You have a triangular wedge shape. So the silhouette itself becomes recognizable. The triangular wedge shape, also with an oval saucer small plate on its side, that's also recognizable. You could toss a fork in there. I think this image would work pretty well, other than the fact that this pie, unfortunately, the blackberry filling came up and covered the crust. So as an artist, I might look at this part and say, okay, well, maybe I'm gonna maintain the top of the crust color for this, even though the photo reference doesn't show that, just to be a little bit more clear, you know. And again, some of these other ones, this is a mess. That doesn't look like a slice of pie. You know, the ice cream's off to the side. You know, it's just, you just want to take time and choose the right photo reference. So for that reason, I decided, and one of my favorite desserts too are s'mores. So I have a few different photos here, and they each have their benefits, they each have their drawbacks. So, but nonetheless, the fact that you got the graham cracker and it's, you know, it's a square shape, it's at an angle. The chocolate's at another angle. The chocolate's dripping because it's hot. The marshmallow's cracking and brown. There's a lot of things going there that I think are recognizable even if I don't paint realistic colors. So for that reason, I decided that I wanted to do a s'mores for my dessert. So here we are. We'll just get rid of this. So this actually, what you have right here, this is the Photoshop file that is uploaded on the assignment description right here. So it's actually, rather than making it huge, it's 4 inches wide. You can see it goes from 0 to 4. 4 inches wide, 8 inches tall, and you can just drop an image in there. So file, place, and I know this is super basic stuff for a lot of you. Just place that in there. Okay, I like it. Now it's at a point where I can just transform it. And again, that video is about using the transform file. So here we go, or the transform tool anyway. So I'm gonna hold Shift and Alt, and I can just start to resize it. So this is really what my board looks like. At this point, I don't think anybody's gonna recognize what that is. And I think I really wanna have the side of it like that, so that maybe I don't know which side's better. I mean, I like this side because it's got the dripping chocolate coming off, which I can even add to it. But then this side, I kind of like the way the chocolate looks there. So, you know, maybe I want to find a different reference, but once you play with it, is when you really start to think about what makes a good image. So let's just say I was going to go for this right there. I kind of want to maybe even make it smaller just so that I can see this corner of the graham cracker right there. Okay, so I have this. Now this grid layer that you guys you can use or not use, it's on the Photoshop file that I gave for you. I can just click it off. It's just called grid lines right there. So that's something for later when you're gonna paint it. You don't necessarily need it for right now. So here, you know, this is an image that I need to rasterize. A lot of times I just copy it so I have my original image and just click and drag it down here. Please stop me and ask any questions if anybody has any questions about what I'm doing right now. Okay, all I'm doing here is manipulating this photo so I can use it for a painting reference, just like those birds that were on the walls. So here, I'm gonna right click on it and I'm gonna rasterize it so it becomes pixels rather than spark file. So now I'm gonna do 2 things here. Three things really. I wanna make it black and white. So to do that, there's so many ways to do all of this on Photoshop or any other program you use other than Photoshop. So I'm gonna go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Okay, so this box comes up and I'm just gonna take the saturation, which is the color. Here's mega saturation, no saturation, no color. It just becomes a black and white image. And that to me becomes really helpful because I'm trying to simplify everything so I can just think about it in terms of its simplest components as far as like the shape of it and whatnot. Actually, I think I kind of like those corners that are right there. So I'm gonna put that there. But I think that there's a lot of grays there. I might try to, I'm gonna copy this again just so I have this original black and white version. Now I'm actually gonna take this and I'm going to do image adjustments. There's so many ways to do this. I'm just trying to find easy ways. Image adjustments, brightness and contrast. And I'm gonna up the contrast. Of course, I can use levels, and so here's more gray, and here's the darks get darker, the lights get lighter. So I can kind of play around with this until I find, I don't know, a good place. I can also make it brighter or darker. And again, these are things you can do in levels. You can do it a lot of different ways in Photoshop. I'm just kind of showing you maybe the most simple way. Okay, let's say I like that. Now this last step I'm gonna do, I'm going the same image adjustments. Image, adjustments, posterize. So now I can see that, oh, maybe I went a little bit too bright there because I'm losing a lot of the detail in the graham cracker itself. Now what this is posterize thing, I don't know why they call it posterize, but well, it's for screen printing, I think for back in the day, a lot of the old terms come from old photography or old printing techniques. But there's 4 levels here. You see the 4 levels. there's 4 colors. There's basically just white, light gray, dark gray, and black. There's 4. What if I were to make it 2 colors, just black and white? 3 colors. That's starting to help me. But I feel like so much of the detail is lost that, what if I went 5 colors? You know, you start to see more of the detail there, but you're gonna have to combine some of the colors together. You're gonna have to add, you know, this light gray with this darker gray in order to still get the shape, but keep the simple color palette. So let's cancel that. I'm gonna go back. Okay, so here's the grade version, and then remember I kind of improved a little bit by upping the contrast. Let's just see what this version does. I just want to see how different this layer would be. So this is, I haven't done the contrast here. Again, image, adjustments, posterize, and that looks pretty good. I kind of like that. There's more detail in the divots on the graham cracker, even though it is just white there. Let's see if we can go back to 3. You lose a lot when you go to 3. See, what about 6? Tons of detail there. So somewhere between like 3 and 5 would be the amount of levels I would think that would be ideal to use as your painting reference. So you could just print this off right here, and literally it's paint by numbers. It's, here's your dark tone. Sorry, I'm sorry. I should have zoomed in. You guys can't even see it. So a lot of the, you know, all this like little graham cracker detail, this is too much. You want to simplify that. And of course you can use other filters to kind of simplify all the detail in this photo itself anyway. But then, you know, here you have your dark color, whatever color it may be. Maybe, like I said, maybe this will be my actual chocolate color. It actually look like chocolate, this dark brown color. And then I can have, I don't know, like a dark orange, a light orange, and then my other color that could be the background, you know, and literally it just becomes a paint by numbers where you could just click the grid over the, I'll select that, I like that. Click the grid over top of it, and then you know exactly where to paint. And again, you could literally just have your grid lightly on there and roll this out with a roller and then kind of touch it up with a brush after, if that's the way you want to work. So, you know, I'm not going to be a stickler about the way you work, but now once this is on my board, it kind of looks like this. And I think I do need some line back here because it's not totally looking like a s'mores to me yet. So I might try to find another photo reference too. But once you tinker with it, something like this and you see its shortcomings, then you have more information to go back into Google image search and figure out what would make the most sense as far as finding the best reference image. So I just wanted to show you what would happen if you did this with color. So that's, I made it black and white because if you do this with color, it's a totally different thing. Sorry, I have to rasterize this. Okay, image, adjustments, posterize. It does this, so that's 4 levels, even though it looks like there's a lot more than 4 colors there. There's 2, it's just harder to work from, you know? And that's why you wanted to make it black and white first. And of course, if you wanted to, you could take this and you could assign any of these different colors like the dark. This is a really hokey way to do it, but you know, I can actually just select this dark color. Let's take contiguous off. And I can just paint, I don't know, like a dark red for the chocolate maybe. And this is a really hokey way to do it, but you know, it's a way to do it. Like it's enough information where you could be playing with the color. I don't know, I had some weird brush from some other thing I was on. And then you could, I'm choosing the magic wand tool here, by the way. Magic wand, that just selects that one color from throughout the whole document. I can change the threshold in this, obviously. You guys get to hear things in the background here. You know, obviously, you can. So anyway, that is just something you can do to play around with the color. Otherwise, if you have this black and white map, so, hey, can you guys keep your voices down? It's real time. So hopefully this makes sense. Is this making sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, good. This is just a way, again, convert it to black and white, and I can type up some quick descriptions on the order of doing this, but convert it to black and white, and then posterize it. And again, all those are, image adjustments where all these resided. Image adjustments, posterize. There's multiple ways to do all of this. There's many, many ways to do it, but this is just what I feel like is the most simple way. So it's a nice way. Again, you don't have to do this. I find it helpful, and I found it helpful when I did my birds and whatnot, but you don't have to do it this way. You can just use a reference and just freeform paint it if you want to. But again, what you want to do is make it recognizable. So if, depending on the dessert you choose, it could be really hard to do. So having the grid and, breaking it up into 3 to 4 colors is going to help you make it more recognizable. Okay, so, okay, I think that's basically what I wanted to cover with this. I'm going to come back to my screen here. You guys see me again?
Yep.
You're always seeing me. Yeah. Okay. You guys lost. Another point I was going to make was that when you have a reference photo, there's always going to be some shortcomings. That's why you need an artist, to kind of figure out what the perfect image would be is recognizable. I often will go to clip art or just illustrations. I will search for illustrations of s'mores or clip art of s'mores. And you saw I pulled up one, and somebody's already kind of boiled things down. It's like, okay, what are the important features? What are the hallmarks of a s'mores? What's the minimum that makes it identifiable? So it's just another kind of tool in the toolbox to use as far as like looking at lots of references. Okay. Let's see. Lastly, what I wanted to talk about was, well, no questions about any of that so far?
How do we rasterize again?
You right click. So yeah, when you drag a photo into Photoshop, I can bring up Photoshop again if you want.
That's fine.
It is a simple step because this is a really important step, I should say, actually, because a lot of students I've had just get hung up on this and they can't quite figure out why they can't manipulate a layer. And it's because it hasn't been rasterized. So when I go file, you don't have to bring it this way. You can just copy and paste an image in and then it's fine. But if I were to place an image, if I were to place this clip art of the s'mores right here, okay, I had to hit enter in order to put it into place. But you see this weird symbol in front of the thumbnail there? I don't know if you guys can see it or not. It's really small. But that shows me that that is not a rasterized image. It's a smart object. So it can be resized and it doesn't lose quality is the reason why that exists. But all I have to do is right click and then rasterize layer. And now that little symbol thing went away, and now I can do anything to it. I can, but before I did that, so imagine here's my image, here's this clip art thing, and I wanted to just take it right in and desaturate it. I can go to image adjustments, and look, it's grayed out. All these things are grayed out. I can't actually select them because the image is a smart object. So I had to. So that works for that. And also posterize. All these things are grayed out. I can't do anything to it until I come over here, right click, rasterize, and now I can do it. So does that make sense, Brandy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, and again, if you know the term rasterize, then you just search for it. But a lot of times you don't even know the word you need. So it's kind of a learning curve as far as just describing. But on YouTube is a tutorial for everything, and a lot of them are under 1 minute. So I'm on YouTube all the time for that kind of stuff. Okay, so again, journals are due Sunday by Sunday night at midnight. Your journal discussion, which all of you except maybe 2 of you had submitted. So those of you that didn't, please get it on there. I'll give you some grace for this first one. And I appreciate everybody's comments. Those journals were great. They're exactly what I was looking for. Some of you didn't embed your image into the discussion post. Do that. You have to select a little mountain with the little sun image to actually embed the image into it. Otherwise, if you want people to download your image, because there's a link there, and people just aren't going to do that. So try to embed your image into the journal discussion post. Those are due Sunday night. Wednesday is the little Molotov vignette due. So that's a week from today. That's where you go out in the environment, you go to something, and then you create a little cool street art mini painting somewhere. And then the Friday after that, or a week from this Friday, this geometric dessert assignment is due. Okay, so that's what's coming up on the horizon there. Just so you know, this next week. So something due Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, in other news, I've been talking with the dean, and I have walls that I've had permission for us to paint, or I could probably get us permission to paint. Those that could. Nobody has to go outdoors and paint now, but some of you want to, and I want to accommodate those people that can and want to. So I'm still in discussions with the dean. We had a great conversation the other day, and I'm trying to get us permission for those that want to be able to paint off of campus. Campus is closed, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can't find walls around Wenatchee and kind of meet and still do our COVID spacing, but paint outdoors, because there's no substitute for painting outdoors. So I'm still working on that. They said, okay, we can't give you the yes now. We want to give you the yes to do that kind of thing, but we're going to wait until we get the next directive from the governor, which is May 4th. And so if need be, I'll resubmit that request I had, and maybe after May 4th, if the campus isn't open, then maybe we can find walls to do around town. So these are all skills that are going to be great for doing that. And again, in anticipation of this, the next project that we have coming up is going to be your proposal, where it's going to be a formal proposal. You're going to take your own artwork, you're going to create a proposal, Photoshop it onto a wall. I will supply you with images of walls around campus. Some of you, thank you everyone that filled out the questionnaire thing. And I have marked down here who has walls at home and who doesn't. So that's really useful information for me. You guys can also, your submission for that can be of your own wall in your own house too. So you can do campus walls or your own walls. So, but yeah, that submission thing's gonna come up, and that'll be an assignment that I will email you about when I get that up, and just to be thinking about. And then, yeah, I think that's all my notes so far. Watch that Vitality and Verb video. It's really inspiring. That 26-minute video that I sent you, or just skim through it. It's such an awesome video. This is just great artists. Otherwise, any questions from anybody so far? I know I covered a lot here, and I'm just talking nonstop here, but hopefully everybody understands where we've come from and where we're headed. Any other questions in general? Okay, great. I'm gonna do what I did last time. Oh wait, I was sharing my screen there. Sorry, I was trying to share myself too. I'm going to do what I did last time, and I'm gonna end the meeting, and I'm gonna get off of it, but anybody that wants to stay on and talk with your other classmates, feel free to do that. So hope you guys are doing great. Email me, feel free to text me if you have questions specifically about anything. Upload your font and phrase assignments, and pay attention to the Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday deadlines coming up. But have fun painting, and please feel free. I'm happy to Zoom or talk on the phone or email anytime if you guys have specific questions or anything you want to talk about. So have a great rest of the day, and yeah, we'll talk to you in a week, if not sooner. Take it easy.
Thank you, everybody.